Okay, so for the polystyrene one, I'm just going to add a stalk. Again, just twisting it flat and just twisting the little stem like so. And I'll just secure that with masking tape on the actual pumpkin. So on top, I'm just securing it down. And then just taping it, and I can twist it after I've taped it. There we go. Okay. Ready. So we're going to put some gloves on and cover it in some Powertex, and I'm going to use stone art. So I'll bring the stone art into the picture now. So what I'm going to do is just empty out some Powertex. I'm using bronze in this example. Oops, I might have just put a bit too much. No biggie. So I'll turn it this way so you can see what I'm doing. And bring you out a little bit. Bear with. Alright, so I've got Powertex on the side. I'm going to grab a brush and get my stone art ready. So it's all about layering. I just want to layer some pieces. So I'm going to paint it all over with some Powertex. I'm not going to paint underneath for now because I'm going to put it on a base. So just paint everything. So the whole piece. And I'm not going to paint the stem now. I'm just going to go all the way around the pumpkin. Okay, so once I've painted that, I'm going to grab my stone art and I'm just going to sprinkle. So with stone art, you need to push down to actually make it adhere to the Powertex. I'm just going to sprinkle it on and you'll see why in a second. I will push down again, but I'm just sprinkling on just to make sure I'm getting it down, and then I'll give it a push as I'm working. So just sprinkling all over. Don't waste. This is why I put it on a tray. I don't waste. I use all these bits and bobs without doing that. And just give it a little tap down. What I'm trying to achieve is a little bit of textures on the actual pumpkin. So I just want to tap it on, give it a bit of texture, and then move on to the next layer. For this example, I'll only do 2 layers, but generally I would maybe do about 3 layers, no more, just so that I don't lose the general shape of the pumpkin. So all the way around. Just give me a little squeeze. When I'm squeezing, it's obviously moving about, so I'm just going to give them a little tap, just a slight tap, and then go with another layer of Powertex. So just scooping that all up. So another layer. I'm not too worried that it's clumping up, as you can see, because I want to get different textures. So I'm pulling some of the stone art up with me. The powder's mixing with the Powertex, which is forming a bit of a clay, because generally you can make a clay from your stone art. So I'm just incorporating it into the actual pumpkin. Be careful not to decant too much stone art out. As you can see, I'm busy messing some of my Powertex into my stone art, which again I can turn into a clay later, but do not put it back into the container. Just keep it separate. You can use it with your mixed media pieces or anything. Just giving it a bit of a layer. Okay, so once that's done, I'm going to add another layer of stone art. So again, sprinkling it all over, using what I have, and I'll grab some more. Grab some new one. Looks like icing sugar, but I promise it is stone art. putting it down so it can stop sticking to my plastic tub because it's a bit wet underneath. Just patting it down a little bit. So like I said, I'm only going to do 2 layers on this, just for time-wise. And also, you can carry on and add an extra layer in your own time. So it works exactly the same as if we were using a pumpkin that we just made out of foil. You do exactly the same concept. Just for speed purposes, I'm doing it this way now. Okay, so once that's done, I'm just going to give it a tap off, tap my containers, just clean all this mess up. I will not throw that away, I will use that later. Okay, so all I'm going to do is just give it a layer of Powertex again. So in this instance or example, I'm using bronze. And just paint it all on. Sorry if it looks a bit messy and tricky, but it's just forming the clay as I'm mixing it in. Okay, so once that's done, I'll paint the stem a little bit. You can decide to put some power cotton on it or just leave it blank. I'm going to hopefully find my power cotton, which I can't find right now. Just going to use a piece of mop here. So I'm going to use a piece of mop, just a strand of mop, just to give a bit of texture on the stem. It looks lovely when you're painting it with your dry brushing. So just on the top, and we're just going to wrap it around the stem. Again, just to add texture. You can use whatever you like. All the way around. Rather turn the pumpkin than the piece of string sometimes. Might need another piece. Let's do one more piece. Oh, find it there. Okay. Okay. So the last thing I did was I made little leaves out of molds. Sorry, I was just grabbing with my wet hands. I'm just going to paint them. So I've used stone art, ivory stone art to make them. There's no particular reason. I just had leftover stone art. Just going to make the little leaves on there. And stick that on. Okay. So that's that one. Then in the video I used some balls, and let's just mix them in here quickly. I'm going to mix it on the actual foil. I'll mix it on a new piece of foil. I like to always wet them before I actually put them on. Just going to make my own little bowl. Just and mix them about. It's just me being messy now. Don't think I have any more mediums. I've only got large and smalls at the minute. I finished them earlier, so let's just use those. And then I'm just going to mix some Powertex in with it. So just scoop some in there. I find it easier to just mix it in this way. So once they're all coated, oh, there's a few on my fingers. You can either use the paintbrush or just scoop them on. It's just to add extra texture. I'm going to put it on a base so you can see, causing a bit of a mess there in my stone art. So let's get that out the way. Let's grab him out the way with the stone art so we don't mess the stone art up. And I do have a base, which I found earlier. So I just want to paint it quickly. So let's just put some Powertex on there. There's a bit of stones or balls inside my paintbrush, which is fine. Don't forget to paint the sides and the base as well. I'll paint the base once it's dry, not now. Paint the sides just to save a bit of time. There you go. All right, so that's the base. I've got a piece of cloth that I'm just going to put on the base just to secure the pumpkin down in place. So I'm just going to cover that in some Powertex. Give it a good old rub. And then just going to add to some raggedy cloth on the edges just to give it a bit of texture on the edges. I'm probably going to use 2 on this one because this board's a little bit bigger. So just use 2 pieces. Make sure it's all covered. And then I'm going to add the pumpkin back on there just so I can carry on adding some balls back on there, some white bits there. So it's just to add a bit of interest. That's all I'm doing. Texture and interest. Just something fun with a pumpkin. Okay, so that's that one. So now I'm going to get this one out the way and grab the other one, which is just on the drying rack. So give me 2 seconds to grab it. Let me take my gloves off. Close those balls up. It's going to be 2 seconds. Okay, so I'm just going to fold my puppy pea pad up. He's a little bit damp on the stem for now, but I will show you the coloring process quickly. So all I do is I take a piece of foil and my varnish, and this one I'm going to make purple like the previous one, maybe a blue, or different colors. Yes, blue. Let's do a blue, different color from earlier. Earlier today I made a green and I've made a purple. So let's make a blue. Just going to grab some more colors quickly. Sorry about that. There you go. That's the one I wanted. Alrighty. So what we're going to do is use a smaller brush. I like to mix with a smaller brush. So we're just going to close that out the way. There you go. Little bit of varnish. I like to make my pieces quite intense color wise, so dipping it in the varnish, dipping it in the powder, and give it a good old mix. And then I've got a bit of this blue that I'd like to mix in. All right, praying that it's dried properly because I've literally just put it in the drying box. So I'm going to paint it all over. I'll come back to the green of the leaves. That's still a little bit wet. Just going to persevere with this one. Some of its balls might fall off. So sorry. This is an impromptu from this morning. If you would have watched this morning's live, you would have seen it up close and personal. So I'm just going to mix a tiny bit more. So you know to paint when pieces are dry rather than when they're wet, because the brown comes off. I'm just saturating them with the blue because I can feel that the Powertex is still wet underneath. But I just want to finish this example for you. So make sure you do dry him properly, either with a hairdryer or overnight. Don't do what I just did. Otherwise you will have Powertex coming off on your brush. Just making sure getting right underneath there. Don't want to miss any parts of the pumpkin. Ooh, the balls are coming off a little bit. Just going to saturate him there. Generally my dry brushing is pretty good, but now he is still a little bit wet. And then the last thing what I'm going to do is just paint his stem. So I'm going to use a bit of bronze gold. And I'm just going to mix it with a bit of varnish. And that goes. Little goes a long way with the bronze gold. So just drying it off. Oops, this is why I need to cover my powders. Just drying it off a little bit. And just very lightly going over the stem. I don't want to push too hard because, like I say, it's still wet-ish. And then once the varnish dries, I would enhance the balls on the side. This fabric's also a bit wet down here, so I'm not going to go too much on here. So once that's dry, I would enhance the little bronze pieces, but it's not looking too bad, all nice and blue. And then these are the drier ones where I've put a bit of bronze gold on the actual accents of all the textures from the balls, and then painted the leaves green. And then this is the green that I made earlier. This is the one made from the foil. And then if you want to, you can make one like this, where it's the acrylic sprays. So it's Ivory Powertex that I used. He's still a bit loose as well. Ivory Powertex, sprayed him with red and yellow because I didn't have orange. So I sprayed him and sprayed him and sprayed him. I'm okay with these white bits sticking out. And then just painted his little stem as well. So I'm just going to turn you back towards me so I can chat to you again. Bear with. Oh, can't flip it. So let's make sure you can see me, hopefully. All right, so the last thing is I just wanted to say thank you so much for everyone that joined on the retreat. Michelle wanted to just extend all her great just thankfulness for everybody that came. So we had in total 25 ladies that joined us. They did the retreat this weekend. We made Festival of Lights, beautiful pieces. I'm busy making one now because I was a happy assistant on the weekend, so I didn't get to make one. but everyone's was absolutely amazing. And then lastly, I just wanted to talk about the advent calendars that's on special at Powertex or on offer. So you can pre-order your little advent calendar. This is the luxury advent calendar, quite a large box. You get 24 compartments, all filled with different goodies. So that's an absolute bargain. Pre-order is at $165. And then you also get the traditional advent calendar, sorry, that's me, with 24 mini individual pigment powders in there, some surprise ones. And then also what we have is, if I can find the little angels, is little angels. You got the little guardian angels, which are £4.50 each. They're the tiny ones. I thought I had them with me. Oh, there they are. Yeah, they are. So that's the little guardian angel. That one is £4.50. And then you get these little ones, which are the angel faces, which are also £4.50 for the pair. I'll just show you what they look like. They're absolutely stunning. But just look at all the detail that's on them. They're absolutely amazing. So those you can do. And what I use them for is I normally use them in my baubles. If I want to use polystyrene ones, you can just cove out a little gap and then fits in one of these little cherubs. Beautiful with stone art. And then you also get the plaster angels. Now the plaster angels are about yay big. They are £10.79. Or you can get the duo pair at $19.99. So get ordering those advent calendars. I ordered 3 last year. Took all of them for myself. So much goodies inside there. You will not regret it. So I'm just going to turn the camera back around and say goodbye. Thank you so much for joining me. So sorry about the mix-up this morning, and I hope you get to see this video now. Take care. Bye.